So Namawak, the sturgeon, have always been significant to our people, spiritually, traditionally, and culturally. So we look at it from many aspects instead of just one. So the sturgeon plays a huge role in who we are, leading all the way back to the time when the first Wayapaskinit or Wasta, that first light-colored bear, emerged from the mouth of the Menominee River. In our original telling of how our people came, the sturgeon was, has, and continues to be a crucial part of that telling. So for us, our connection with them, our relationship with them, in our modern day life, in our spiritual connections, our historical connections go all the way back to the beginning of our people. And sturgeon, being that strong connection to our spiritualism, is one of those fish that we celebrate, that we rejoice. It's a healthy relationship that we have. It's sprinkled all through our histories. We've never over-harvested what we need. We've only ever taken what we need. Poso necho mat no manewak pakachika nata kam. Ehio so mat no mane nata skoni kane ntano kim. And it namao mache tawak skew nimi to and it pe case kakikitim in this ni kakikiton in this small chase in a nekamo. Well, hello everybody. My English name is Joey Iwanape, and my real name is Pakachika. For our Sturgeon Celebration, I was asked to perform the Master of Ceremonies duties and responsibilities for the celebration. And I've been working with Nakwa, Dave Greeno, for many years. First helping with just organizing, and more so the last 8 years being the Master of Ceremonies for the Sturgeon Celebration.
Tribal Stork Preservation Officer for the Menominee Tribe.
How long have you been in that position?
29 years.
29 years.
To be 30 in June. Well, we went through Chairman Court, and I said, well, we're going to have the curbside pickup again. And just then, the pandemic restrictions were lifted, and he said, well, why don't you guys ever pop up again and have it at the new center? And it took us about 2 weeks. That's all we had to get this going, and it really came about. It's beautiful. I mean, it's something the Menominee people need, and it's a family center. And like I said, it's this Sturgeon Feast is positive. It's with all the deaths we've been having due to drugs and stuff. It's our people needed something positive, and hopefully this will help turn things around. Um, I mean, it's people need this. I mean, they need something that is culturally and spiritually significant to us, and we have it now.
My name is Robert Kaktosh, originally from Neopet, Wisconsin, live in Machine, Wisconsin. Back in '99, graduated high school. Like any young man, wanted to become a warrior, joined the Marine Corps.
And how many years?
Did 4 years, did from 1999 to 2003. Growing up until probably I was 16 years old, and I started again in 2013. Brings back the sturgeon back home, and I've been doing this powwow since I was young, and now it's an honor to be asked to be the head dancer or the head veteran of this powwow. And this is like the 5th year I was asked, and this is pandemic hit. I had a injury, a big snowstorm, and this is my 5th year where I actually got to do it. It feels good to be in the circle, dancing with everybody else. I at home try it on, dance around, but it feels good to be actually with friends and see everybody through Powwow Trail. And it's nice. It's really nice. I was impressed about how many kids use this, and it's not going to waste. I know that. It's fun, and showing little kids, younger ones coming up, and showing them the moves and teaching me how to, this is what the fish does when they spawn, and to actually let them know. Then so when they grow up, then they'll be able to run the dances when they grow up. Like my son, I try to tell my son, I was like, this is the order it goes in. And
Our cultural dances have always been performed by our ancestors, our elders, and now our generation are carrying them forward. So what's important for people, and we try to explain this as the dances are going on, is these weren't just cultural dances we did periodically. These were actually pieces of ceremonies that our people did at one time. For the sturgeon to travel up the river, I mean, it was such a blessing for that event to take place because we were coming out of the harsh winters. And it's not just the sturgeon, it's the trout and the muskies and the northern and the perch and the suckers, the red horse, the crappies, all of these fish that are traveling upriver, making their way back into our waterways. And so that's the significance of the fish dance. The swan dance also pays tribute and honors that migration. The swans, the ducks, the geese, all the small migratory birds that we have, the songbirds that travel from north to south, and one of our most important relatives, the robin, Pepahna we call him. He was a young boy, a young Menominee boy, and his life was given for us to remember certain lessons in our life on how we treat one another, how we are supposed to be. So he's one of those migratory birds that travel back and forth as well. So the swan dance is very specific to those migratory birds and their patterns. So the snake dance is another dance we try to do at least once or twice a year. And that one relates specific to a story that we have, a telling, a legend that was told. And the way we talk about it is there was a young boy that grew up in a village. And like all of our young children, they always played throughout the forest. Well, this young boy happened to come across a snake in the forest. And the snake was small as well. So those two became friends. Every day this boy would go out, he would look for that snake, and everywhere the boy went, he would carry that snake with him. So every fall time, as fall turned cold, moving into winter, that snake would go and hibernate. So it was kind of a sad time when those two would be separated. So the snake would coil up, hibernate through winter, and in the springtime of the year, the boy knew where this snake hibernated. And so he would wait and wait and wait for the ground to unthaw, for the warmth to return. And when the snake came out, again they would pick up their relationship where they left off in the fall. So this went on throughout the lifetime of that boy and that snake. So every year that snake would shed his skin, he would get bigger and bigger. Same thing with that boy. That boy turned into a teenager, turned into a young man, turned into an elder. And over all of those years, as those two grew together, their bond became inseparable. And as this old man reached the final days, he started pleading with the Creator to allow that snake to travel into the happy hunting grounds with him. And we all know in our culture, the animals do not travel with us in our spirituality. And so this old man pleaded continuously with the Creator, asking him this one time to make an exception for that snake. And after many times of this old man asking, the Creator finally allowed this to happen. But that snake was to cross in a certain way. He could not cross as an entire snake. He had to, in our tellings, there's a river that we all cross to get to the happy hunting grounds. And so that snake was to come up to that river, back up, and then move quickly as he got to that river. And as he jumped over, only pieces of his body would be allowed to go. He wouldn't be allowed one whole piece. But once all of his pieces were to the other side, he would be one whole figure again, back to that canoe pick. And once over there, him and that old man would return to their younger state, and they would rejoice. And we see all of these things play out during that dance. We see the dancers, they shed their skin. As the snake grows, we see the dancers coil up throughout the wintertime, they hibernate. And then at the very end, we see all the dancers line up, and they dance up to the river, they back up, and then one after another, each piece of that snake jumps over that river. And at the very end, all the dancers hold hands and they form that circle, and that's where they're all dancing and they're rejoicing just like that boy and that snake over in the happy hunting grounds.